Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The Ascension tournament is coming up very shortly indeed. Teams are flying out to Sao Paulo, Brazil, including M80, to try and give their chance a go to qualify for the Partnership League. But also with Deadlock coming out a couple of days ago, EG's Ethan backtracking hard on his opinion that she was particularly good, now saying that she's a useless agent, but maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, just wanted to mention I thought this was quite remarkable actually. I probably didn't give enough credit, as I should have done over the weekends, for just how incredible the Japanese crowd was, to be honest, at this event. It was, comparing it to some previous crowds we've had in Valorant and other esports as well, I thought Japan really showed up in force and did a phenomenal job. And here's Boaster meeting so many people. I think he expected there to be maybe 500 people turned up to this meet and greet, and there was like thousands that turned up. So, you know, he took an extra vacation day to say hello to everybody. He couldn't meet everybody that he wanted to, so he just high-fived people. But yeah, I thought this is such a crazy story that it's just that popular out there right now. And even with no Zeta division at the tournament, it was nonetheless a great showing for the Japanese crowd, who put on a phenomenal show the entire time, as did Fnatic, of course, with their play. And even look at this, right, all the letters that he got locally with all like their own design. So yeah, just Japanese crowd did a phenomenal job this tournament. Great to see, and great from Boaster as well to entertain all this. Big arrivals then last night. So the patch note 7.0 arrive. Team Deathmatch is now officially live. We've got these few maps in the game, and it's pretty interesting, right, to see how TDM's playing so far. Like, it's probably a better version of the warm-up that we had, to be honest, with normal Deathmatch, and I think generally people seem to like it. There has been some talk, actually, from babybay that may be a return to, you know, even as, well, Boy says, right, you know, former 100 Thieves, that he enjoys how it presently feels, right, and kind of the nostalgia of how some of the other TDM maps that are pretty claustrophobic are felt in the past in other games, you know, Crossfire, AVA, stuff like this. But as babybay says, they need to increase the kill limit from 100 to 150. Feels too short. I think they did this in Call of Duty actually when, well, initially it was 75, right, in Call of Duty, and then they made it 100. And then for Ground War and stuff like that, when there's more players on the map, they made it 150, I think, something like that anyway, at least for some game modes. So it may be something that Riot need to think about there, because, yeah, maybe 100 is a little bit too low for what should be happening when there's just so much action going on all the time on these relatively small maps, and the game's maybe coming to an end slightly too quickly. Also, these are some major updates. The big one really is Deadlock added into the game, of course, but a few updates and agent fixes here, such as Chambers Rendezvous. If you're suppressed mid-animation, then it interrupts it to interrupt the teleport. So yeah, few changes like that. For example, Cypher's spy cam for being placeable on Lotus's rotating doors. That's, you know, not allowed to be happening anymore. And various other bugs and fixes that they've tried to accomplish over the last, you know, few weeks before putting this patch note out. But also, we've got to discuss Deadlock, because when Deadlock arrived, all this talk was about the quality and the strength, frankly, of the ultimate ability, and maybe it's better than it's getting credit for at the moment. As Chet says, Deadlock might be the best agent release since Gecko, kind of implying that she's not particularly impressive, and I don't really think she is. I mean, even as Ethan says here, Deadlock might be the worst in the game. Congratulations, Rito. So, you know, he reckons that Deadlock is just terrible now. This is obviously a big step back from what he said the other day, where he seemed to believe when the agent was first released and when they were the first talking about it behind the scenes, that Deadlock was going to be very powerful indeed. Turns out that's not really the case. Now, maybe it's going to be a situation like Harbor, where Harbor is definitely viable right now on a competitive level. Many of the pros use him, but initially he wasn't used at all. Now, I think they had to give him an extra cascade, and they made a couple of buffs to him, and maybe Deadlock needs some buffs as well. And I feel like people have still got PTSD from Chamber, that every new agent, they're like, oh no, he or she is going to be incredibly strong, and you know, maybe Deadlock is pretty good, and I think there is a chance that she can be, and I think over time teams will figure things out. It's like when Neon arrived, there was lots of talk from Neon that actually, you know, oh no, she's not good, it's only viable in ranked and all this, but it turns out that Neon actually can be viable, even if with the recent nerfs that she had on maps like Fracture, Neon is definitely usable. So there is always that discovery that's been had over time, that teams seem to figure out, you know what, actually, you know, agents are more viable when they're given more playtime. And I'm sure teams, for example, like Paper X, they will be quite good at finding out ideas like this. So just to mention for you guys here, just some thoughts here that come through on already some lineups happening, right? This is a pretty good one as well here on Haven, of course. I mean, these are plenty of Haven lineups here for the Deadlock character. So, you know, there's people are already finding things, jump throws, regular throw lineups to use, because this is probably one of her best utilities, actually, that slows you down and makes you crouch and stuff in these areas.
No, hold them to their grave. Reeling them in.
They're up ramp, they're up ramp. Raise 1 HP.
We gotta kill with.
They couldn't save you.
That all is fucking done. Reyna's B.
It is too funny.
Behind you, Reyna.
Oh.
Keep flashing, keep
Flash
flashing.
mid. Yeah, I'm gonna flash all the blind.
I'm gonna come ult as well.
Reeling them
Oh, he's getting
in.
sucked, I think, right?
Yeah, yes.
Hope he's dead. You just have to cover it.
Reloading.
New box.
Ends here.
He has it off, new box.
Throwing net.
This is just like
Bravo
last
was
game, right?
good. Now.
Wait, one's reeled in, one's backside.
backside.
One's the tornado, right? Look at
Dead!
What the?
No one's got it.
Oh my!
Spike down
Look at you dogs trying to steal my kill, bro. That's what I love. They can't steal my kill anymore when I play Killjoy.
Oh yeah, you detain someone, you can't kill.
Yeah.
So there's certainly some entertaining elements there, right? And that ultimate is pretty good when it works, but it doesn't always work. But again, with lineups and with experience and with some time, I think there's a chance Deadlock does become viable. Maybe a couple of things even need to be buffed, and to be fair, I prefer this eventuality when things need to be buffed when they arrive, rather than things needing to be nerfed, because I think Riot have leaned on the side for some time now. If a new agent comes in, they're very, very powerful. Chamber was one of them. Now, in fairness, right, on the 10th of June, Ethan said this: you thought Chamber was good, Astra insta suck, Raze with 2 nades, can't wait for the new agents. And at the time we wondered, okay, is he just joking around it? Is he being legit? And I think he probably was being legit about this, because he now quote tweeted and says clown emoji, which kind of implies that his original take was, you know, either a clown take or that he was just clowning around and was just having us on this whole time. But I don't think he was. I reckon that he saw this agent, saw the reveals they did behind the scenes, and thought that it was going to be very good, as many of us did when we saw the initial character kind of explanations. But having played she's not so good, I think most people are realizing over the last couple of days or so. So intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Also wanted to mention though, Ascension in Sao Paulo is coming soon. The M80 boys are out there. It begins in just a couple of days away now. And well, here we are. As Xander says, Brazil, we are inside of you, and they're getting ready to go boot camping, getting ready to practice, and that's going to be a massive tournament over the coming days. An even bigger tournament though is going on in China. So if you guys aren't aware about this, the Chinese teams don't have guaranteed spots for champions in the way the other regions do. The other regions have 3 teams guaranteed already, and then 1 from their respective last chance qualifiers. Or if you're from Europe, there's 2 spots for your last chance qualifier, because Fnatic won Masters and therefore give their home region another spot. For China though, it's a different story. All of their teams, based on their performances so far this season, get seeded into a massive bracket where the top 3 teams will qualify for the championship itself. And this is the crazy bracket. There are 6 best of 5s here. I've never seen a bracket quite like this. You guys can see the FPX here right now, a Chinese team, even Tai Lu, but also Edward Gaming, ASC, Attacking Soul Esports. They also did quite well. Based on their performances this season, they get a bye through the brackets, but you know, so they will play one of these 2 teams, and presumably EDG are going to have no issues getting through this. But the top 3 teams in this tournament qualify, and therefore every game that could result in qualification is a best of 5. So if you get to the winners finals, you're guaranteed to go to champions. So both of the matches to qualify for the winners finals are best of 5s. It's kind of remarkable that they're doing this many best of 5s, because once it's a best of 5, then even down here in losers, the winner of this also qualifies, and then once you've qualified, they don't exactly want to take it a step back to a best of 3, so they keep it as a best of 5. So yeah, I've never really seen a bracket like this before, where there are so many. Usually they only do it for the losers and the grand finals, but they're doing it here for all of the qualification games, and at 3 of these teams will make it, presumably EDG, ASC, and then 1 more, because those were the 2 teams that made it before. Speaking of a similar but not quite so insane bracket we have here for the EMEA last chance qualifier, this of course is going on roughly middle of July after the Ascension situation concludes. As we can see here, July the 19th, this kicks off. Team Heretics versus KOI. And as we can see, these first games, the loser goes home immediately. Once you get to the second round of games, then there's a loser's bracket as well. And of course, 2 of these teams will make it through, right? Because there's no Vitality, they decided to withdraw. So that leaves the bracket as follows. And 2 of these teams will make it thanks to Fnatic doing a solid for their own region by winning Toko. But very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.